everybody's back, okay.
John, could you open that?
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Sorry for the delay there, we had some technical difficulties. We'll start with the pledge by Councilman Crowley.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Brenda, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Councilman Blaisdell.
Present.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Present.
Councilman Froelich.
Present.
Councilman Isakson.
Present.
Supervisor Zalatic.
Present. We will start with our opening session of public comment. Yes, please. Yes, sir.
My name is Tom Bird. Live at 1 Woodland Court. Here to talk about the County Code resolution tonight, 15419B3. I was here last meeting to discuss the same topic, but I'll refresh everyone's memories. Our neighborhood is directly impacted by the request to change this code, because if this code goes through, if this code change goes through, the proposed neighborhood next to us is going to go from 19 homes, which should be the maximum for the code, to 27. All of them at half-acre lots at a minimum. Literally at a minimum, by measurements. If they're off by 2 feet in any direction on the land, they're not going to meet the half-acre. So they're packing it in full. Now, this has been a code for a while, and the whole reason is to maintain the appearance and the neighborhood feeling of Milton. All this does is it requires the builder to prove why they need a variance and what that variance is going to do for them and for the town of Milton. Again, the burden's on the developer. If this code changes, all the burden then shifts to the residents and the boards to prove why a developer shouldn't be able to meet that minimum code. So if we want to shift workload, we're going to shift it onto the boards and to the residents instead of onto the developers, which I think is not the intent. There are many letters that were sent in from other neighborhoods or other neighbors, both in our neighborhood and in Budgetary. It's easier to give permission than it is to take it back. And if we change the code, now we're going to be fighting to take it back. For us personally, it's going to affect us immediately. I bought the property thinking I'm going to have 1 to 1.5 houses behind me based on the standard code. Now I'm going to have 3, with 2 houses sitting directly behind my house. So any of my privacy with the woods is gone. There's no buffer. This is going to happen in the next one too. So the surrounding neighbors are going to have the same issue, right? So we're trying to maintain the feel of Milton, right? And I've heard it's going to meet the minimum fire code. Since when has anybody targeted to be at the minimum? That's like saying I want to get a D in class. No one targets to be the minimum, right? We should be shooting for more. So what I'm asking is that the board not approve this resolution to change the code and give it a minimum standard versus maintaining what we already have in place and requiring developers to prove why they need a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Stanko.
Anna Stanko, 30 P10th Street, Balton, New York. I am here, I see on the agenda tonight, there's a resolution to appoint Laura Orminsky as the assessor for the town of Milton. Tonight I'm speaking as a director of real property at Saratoga County. The assessment process, as most of you know, is one of our most important processes in the county, in the state, in the country. It is how we raise taxes, it is how we pay our bills, is how we plow our streets. I can say that in the 2 years that Laura has been in the assessor's office, she has, I can't think of a more qualified person to be the assessor for the town of Milton. She is a quick learner, she's very astute, she's a team player, she asks the right questions. She just is all around the best candidate for the job. So again, I'm not speaking as a, well, I guess I am speaking as a resident because I pay taxes here as well, but I'm happy to see that the board has put this on as a resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Bruce?
Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to take the opportunity to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy it with your families and friends. But on to business. Since our tax dollars are refurbishing the town hall as a taxpayer, I'd like to get some update as to the situation with the sewer hookup. Does anyone know anything about that at this point in time?
The sewer? Sure. Permits have been submitted to the county and to Heritage Springs, and we just wait.
Why are we submitting a permit application to Heritage Springs? They don't take permit applications. We only
Well, then
submit.
I misspoke first.
Okay, there's only, the only permit that has to be filed is with the town of Milton, according to their own town law. So if that gets, I'll take your word there, John, that the permits have been filed, but today we haven't seen anything from FOIL requests, so I don't know. We'll follow up on that. We will follow up on the FOIL for any and all information regarding the sewer and the permit process. But let's assume the permits have been filed, and once that cost is determined, when will the board authorize payment of the sewer permit fee? Your next opportunity looks like is going to be December 8th, I believe, when we have the next board meeting. And provided you do authorize, what are you going to authorize, since this board stands outside of the law in terms of setting rates? You're almost 10 years overdue to date. So good luck, folks, in your fight. You're almost 10 years, so you're outside of the law by 10 years. So in effect, I guess a case could be made that the existing rate is not a legal rate. So what rate are you going to pay? And then the third scenario is if you decide to pay the $2,000 per ERU, and based on 5 bathrooms you have, it's a minimum of 10 ERUs or $20,000. So if you pay $20,000, and ultimately this town fulfills its statutory duty to conduct a rate hearing, and it's determined that the rate is 0 in less than a year from now, boy, we really just screwed the taxpayer, didn't we? So how are we handling all this? Are we just going to pay the $20,000 and say the hell with the taxpayer? We don't even know that's correct, do we? We don't even know that rate of $2,000 is a true and accurate rate, and quite frankly, we do know that you're outside of the law as you are right now.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Is that working?
No, it's not working. I got a couple people with their hands up here. Hang on just a second.
I'd like to speak about the Laura issue. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm currently the assessor for the town of Milton. I've been here for 9 years, and before that I've spent 31 years with the state of New York working in this field. And I want to say what a pleasure it's been working with the folks in the town of Milton. We have an excellent community here. The taxpayers are very lucky to have all the people I've worked with that you've elected to positions here have looked out for your interest. They may have different slants on things, but they're always looking for your interest. And the town spends are very frugal. My pockets are almost empty. But aside from that, I'm looking to kind of back down from the amount of time that I spend working. I reached the golden age of 71, and I want to spend a little bit more time with the kids down in Florida. But at the same time, I don't want to walk away from the job. So over the last couple of years, I've been working very closely with someone who's matured into an excellent prospect to be the assessor here for the town of MIlton. And I take my duties and responsibilities personally, and I take them seriously. And I wouldn't recommend Laura if I didn't feel she was extremely qualified. Does she know everything 100%? No, nobody does. And as I said, I've been in this field for almost 50 years, and I'm still trying to learn all the pieces. And when it comes to computer skills and manipulating files, which Anna will tell you is a huge part of the job, I have to rely on Laura and even Brenda. She comes back and saves us sometimes. Thank you, Brenda. It's a very complex job. Appraisal skills. I worked as commercial specialist for the state for a number of years, and I had like a pretty good feel for commercial properties. There's gentlemen in the professional side of things, appraisers, who specialize only in commercial properties. That's all they do. And there's other, is that all?
No, that was me, sorry.
Okay, I thought my time's up. There's people who only do farms. There's people who do, what I'm trying to say is that there's so many aspects to the job of being and then there's another very important part that I'm going to skip over, is the public relations piece. The town board is, you're there as a sounding board. I'm sure you hear complaints constantly, well not constantly, but you hear people complaining about what's going on. A certain amount of negative feedback is good. That means that your staff are doing things, especially the assessor, because nobody likes what I do. But we try to treat everybody with respect, and we try to do a fair job on the professional standards that we have. And Laura excels in this area. She's extremely good with people. Sometimes I think she's too happy. I don't know if she takes a happy pill in the morning. But everybody she comes into this office, she has a smile, and she's there to help them all the time. And that's such an important part of the job. It's the interface with the public, and she excels at that. And she's been learning every piece of it. She's taken all the courses that's required, and she's gotten excellent grades in all of the coursework. So again, and I'm not looking to walk away from this job. I'm going to stay as a consultant and work on the harder, not the harder, but the issues that back up Laura where she needs that help. I had a call this morning from a county director from another county, and he has an issue with a pilot project that's coming up, and he goes, can I come in and work with him on it? And this is somebody that I had trained. So now he went from being an assessor to an assessor of 5 or 6 different towns, and now he's a county director, and he still needs a hand going through things. This profession is very complex and difficult, and I'll always be around to help Laura in the town. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Tom?
I'm not as magnanimous as my brother, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Couple things. John, thank you for your service. It has been a pleasure to work with you. John has been professional in his duties. I'm not opposed to having a lower assessment, but they've always been fair assessments. So thank you very much, and I'll say Laura is I look forward to her being appointed. She's an asset to the town, and John has always been professional, Laura's always been professional, and I welcome her and wish you all the best and hope you stay consulting here, John. I will publicly say FOIL officer, I'll be looking forward to that application that I had a FOIL in for days that I haven't seen anything on, so somebody's withholding it, but I don't think it's the FOIL officer, so I'm going to be interested to see dates on that, because I believe I did it about a couple of weeks ago, right after the last town board meeting. Now, you've had a rate hearing, you postponed a rate hearing, the rate hearing hasn't been concluded, you haven't established a rate, it's 5 years outside the law. It's reviewed at least once every 5 years. Last review was 2012. In 60 days, you'll be 5 years overdue, outside the law. You haven't done your job. for 5 years. It's disappointing. And now you're working in concert with the entity that you're supposed to be regulating. You're on the phone with a conference call with an entity you're supposed to be regulating. Several people got to get together to talk about sewer because it's still a mystery in the town of MIlton in 2021. It's disgusting. It's disappointing. You sit here, you do nothing. 5 years. You haven't done anything. Can't even look at me. Can't even give the respect to the taxpayer who comes up here, pays for you to be at the meetings, pays for your health care, and you can't even abide by the law. It's disgusting, and it's disappointing. I don't know when we're going to start abiding by the law. Transportation Corporation law, very short, few pages, nothing hard to follow. You have an attorney, you can't understand it, I'm sure he'll explain it to you. But this is unacceptable. We pay you. We elect you. You sit here. You don't do your job. It's time you start doing your job. I don't know what else we can do. We brought forth a certified public accountant. They have no investment in their sewer system. You pay them 7%. What about these developments? What are they going to pay? What's this town going to pay? It ought to be zero. The people that you're supposed to regulate...
You need to wrap up, sir.
I'm sorry?
You need to wrap up.
Thank you, I will. The people that you're supposed to regulate, that you committed to have a rate hearing, to swear them in under oath, to testify under oath as to their financial condition, they refuse to come, and you're here talking and dealing with them rather than dealing with your responsibilities as a regulatory agency.
Miss Judah. You have to unmute yourself, ma'am. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. Kudos to all of the folks who are there in person, doing their civic duty as residents of the town on the evening before Thanksgiving. I join you, but I have not been feeling very well, so I decided to jump in via Zoom. I have been keeping my ear to the ground on what's happening with the Planet situation, as you know. I've also disclosed, I live at 34 Van Tassel, so I'm not in the neighborhood of Planet, but I'm very interested in it because of living near the airport and wanting to learn from the lessons of the past as we go forward. I do note that tonight, that there's a resolution to change code when at the public hearing a few weeks ago, all the residents spoke out against it. Michael Landis is not able to be at the meeting this evening, nor are any of the residents that are a little closer that I'm aware of. And I was asked if, on behalf of Michael, I could read something into the public comment. So this is from him. He wants to state that, 1, the original grandfathered license issued by the building inspector Wayne Howe to Mr. Dawson was invalid because Moto Holdings Incorporated owned that property between Loya and Dawson. Moto Holdings failed to obtain a license. Loya's license could not jump over to Moto to Dawson. According to legal precedents, a grandfather license cannot be issued for a property that has been unlicensed or dormant, as Mr. Dawson describes it, for a year, as was the case with 274 Greenfield Ave. If the property goes unlicensed for a year, as it did with Moto Holdings, then the property reverts back to the original zoning, in this case, R1 residential. 2, Planet Salvage is operating under a license granted to Ed Loya, which was a fundamentally different business. Where Loya's salvage yard was quiet, largely inoperative, and dormant, Planet is fully operational 6 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., with large, loud industrial machinery. Where Loya operated a peaceful salvage yard, Dawson runs a dynamic metallic waste processing plant. Planet is a vastly different business that needs to be licensed differently. It makes no sense that Planet is operating under Loya's old license. 3, the inappropriate grandfather license issued by Wayne Howe on February 4th, 2015 is for junk and junk dealers. Yet, on his December 8th, 2020 license application, Mr. Dawson clearly lists scrap metal recycling. The license does not match the business. This glaring discrepancy cannot be overlooked. Planet is obviously and illegally not conducting the business for which it is licensed. The residents are very much hoping to hear an update on what is happening, which direction the board intends to go, what's going on with the sound study, and what is next in regards to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Morosi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Just happy Thanksgiving, by the way. I'm just wondering if you have an update on the Liberty Hills Water District.
Yep, I'll give you that update under old business, Mrs. Morosi.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. And we'll move on. Motion to accept the minutes from the November 10th, 2021 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Brenda, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Next up, resolution to amend Town Code, Chapter 154-19B, subsection 3. You want me to read it before we move on, or will we? Okay. Whereas the building inspector, planning board chairperson, and zoning board chairpersons have reviewed Town Code, Chapter 154, subdivision of land, Article 5, design standards, Section 19-B, subsection 3, streets. And whereas the Town of Milton building inspector, with the consent of the planning board and zoning board chairs, has requested that subsection 3 be removed and replaced entirely with the attached hereto law, be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Milton hereby adopts said local law of 2021, amending sections of Town Code by removing the existing language for the specified sections listed and replacing it with new language, a copy of which said local law containing all of the changes is attached hereto and made part of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the town clerk of the Town of Milton is hereby directed to have the above mentioned chapters are mentioned accordingly, and to enter said local law into the minutes of this meeting and in the local law book of the Town of Milton, and to publish same in accordance with sections 264 and 265 of the town law of the state of New York, and to file due notice of the adoption of said local law with the Secretary of New York State. Does anyone want to make that motion? Okay, seeing none. Local law will not be changed. We're good, right? Nobody wants to change it, all right. So, there we go. Next up is a resolution regarding local law opting out of on-site cannabis consumption. Whereas, under cannabis law, Article 4, a municipality has the right to either allow or opt out of cannabis dispensaries. Be it further resolved that the town clerk be, and she is hereby directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and in the local book of Town Milton, and to give due notice of adoption in said local law to the Secretary of State of New York, and publish same as required by law in accordance with the requirements of a resolution passed subject to a permissive referendum. So I need a motion to move on resolution to allow, or opting out of, on-site consumption.
Probably not in a second, but I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just a couple, maybe not discussions so much as observations. I had some interesting discussions with actually my oldest daughter, about cannabis. About this whole opting out of the lounge thing. And she asked me a question. She said, well, if they don't do it in the lounge, what prevents them from going out in the parking lot and doing it, which is true. So what have we really accomplished? I know our fear is that people are going to use the lounge and go out and drive under the influence. I guess that could be the same thing you said about bars. I'm not a big fan of necessarily legislating people's rights. And I don't know the benefit to us opting out. I guess if we opt out, and my question's for Jim, can we opt in at any time?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So the only questions I really have on this cannabis thing, and I view it as if we did it in lounges, we'd have more control. Number one, you would have a person selling it that could keep track of the patrons. You would have more control as far as if somebody did go out and have an accident, God forbid, that the police then could come back, or some authority should be able to come back and say to that lounge, you didn't do your job. Where if they go out and smoke in the parking lot, we have no control over it. So I'm kind of undecided about this issue, but I know right now the feeling with everybody is to opt out. I will opt out of it right now because I don't really have a good answer on how we handle it, I guess.
Well, I think, John, what I heard 2 weeks ago was that the residents that were speaking were in favor of on-site consumption. And it seemed like more people spoke in favor of it than against it. So I would be voting I would be voting to leave the law. If we do nothing, we can have consumption and distribution. That's my understanding of the options.
John, I'm with you, and that's my concern is it's so new in the regulation on it, and how do you control this, and who's liable? You know, a bar owner's liable, you know, but if you get stopped, you have a breathalyzer test, what do they do if you get stopped high? I don't know. I don't know.
They do a physical.
They don't do a physical on the side of the road.
Well, no, it's a physical test.
Okay.
Similar
I
to
was
what-
told the officers have to call someone in.
Well, they may have specialists as far as doing the
They have to
testing.
call someone in.
There's no chemical
Yeah.
test.
Right, and there's too many unanswered questions. And as far as the people that called in, I believe there were 2, am I correct? And one of them doesn't live in this town. So, and his town happened to opt out of it. So I don't think we got the consensus of our people here in Balton.
Any other thoughts? Okay, Brenda, can you hold the board? This is to opt out of on-site consumption, not distribution. So we're all clear on that.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kirk.
Yes,
Councilman Crowley.
I guess at this time I'm going to vote yes, and I would hope that we put together some kind of committee to study this a little more. Look at it and come up with some solutions. I'd rather see us do solutions than just kick it to the curb.
Councilman Isaacson.
No, I'm in favor of both the dispensary and on-site consumption.
Supervisor Slavitt.
And I vote no. So it appears resolution carries. Next up is a resolution to authorize a 36-month communications proposal with Spectrum Enterprises. Resolution to authorize a 36-month contract with Spectrum Enterprise for town fiber internet security and phone services. Whereas the town of Milton is looking to consolidate its internet and phone services for town hall and the community center through a single vendor at a state contract pricing to increase reliability and functionality, while at the same time reducing administrative resources and costs. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby authorize, agree, consent to, and ratify allowing the supervisor to accept a 36-month term proposal received from Spectrum Enterprise, a full copy of which is attached hereto, and further authorizes the town supervisor to sign and enter into the agreement, to execute all needed and necessary documents, and pay all amounts required thereunder in furtherance of such. I need a motion to move a resolution to allow the contract.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
This is important to continue with our moving back into town hall. Basically, this is bringing the fiber optics into, new fiber optics into the town hall.
That's correct.
So it's important that we do
Has
this.
there been an appointment made to get this moving?
Yes, David's been in contact.
I'm sorry.
Yes, you've been in contact with Spectrum.
Just earlier, excuse me, earlier today, Benny and I spoke with Cassidy Maynard, the representative from Spectrum, and who is pretty optimistic that we can get the services up and running before the end of the fiscal. So yeah, as long as we stay the course and we operate.
When do they expect to get in?
You can't hear anything.
They expect to be, I had a conversation, Dave and I had a conversation with the representative of Spectrum this afternoon, and they expected, if we approve this contract, they'll have us, they're 99% sure we can be in the building. Their part of it can be done before the end of the year. Hold board, please, Brenda.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes,
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Slavitt.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Next up, a resolution to approve budget amendments. Whereas the town board of the town of Milton must make budgetary amendments, and said amendments must be based upon resolutions of the town board. Now therefore be it resolved, the town of Milton does authorize the following inter-budgetary transfers as follows. From AA-1999-400-000, from contingency 42,500 to 500 to the supervisors for contractual expenditures, $1,500 to the comptroller for contractual expenditures, $20,000 to the auditors, $1,000 to the tax collector for equipment and capital outlay, $9,000 to the Central Services Administration for contractual expenditures, $8,500 to unallocated insurance, $50 to municipal association dues, $1,000 to the parks for parks and equipment outlay, and $500 to the historian for contractual expenditures, and $500 to disability insurance. From AA-3410-200-000, fire protection, to AA-3410-400-000, fire protection contractual expenditures. $6,000 from AA-3510-100-000, animal control personal services, to the other side of animal control services for contractual obligations. From AA-7310-400-000, youth program contractual expenditures, $15,000, to AA-5132-400-000 for the garage contractual expenditures. From AA-5182-400-000, street lighting, to AA-5182-200-000, street lighting equipment and capital outlay. From AA-0917-000-000, $12,000 from fund balance, to AA-6410-400-000, publicity contractual expenditures. From DA 5142-100-000, snow removal personal services, $2,000, to DA 5140-400-000, 000, brush and weeds, $2,000. from DB 5142-100-000, snow removal personal services, $30,000, to DB 9110-800-000, state retirement system, $20,000, DB 9030-800-000, social security employment benefits, $10,000. Therefore, be it resolved by the town board of Milton. Thank you, Frank.
Second.
Okay,
Probably retreat because you might-
any discussion? Full board, please, Brenda.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatin.
Yes. Next up, a resolution to open 2 bank accounts to hold project future decommissioning funds with the Balton Spa National Bank. Whereas the town of Milton Comptroller has requested that 2 bank escrow accounts be opened at the Balton Spa National Bank for the purpose of holding decommissioning funds for future use on 2 solar projects currently approved and/or existing within the town for better tracking and properly accounting for said funds. Therefore, be resolved by the town board.
So
Can
moved.
you hold up on that one?
Sure.
That doesn't appear to be the correct version. Mr. Bramer had requested a change to it. It's actually one account for the decommissioning fund, a separate account. Mr. Bramer had requested a change to that. It's actually 2 separate accounts, one escrow account for decommissioning funds and one for debt service for, I think, town hall. Dave, you want to address that?
So, I saw the resolution come through, earlier, so I reached out to Jim and asked if he could amend it. The one account, it's called, we're opening a bank account, we're going to establish actually, it's called the debt service fund, so that we can push the amount that we appropriated for to repay debt in 21 into this account and use it to prepay debt that we've issued last year that we won't be required to repay until March of 2021. So we're creating a debt service fund and creating an account so that we can retain amounts for the purpose of decommissioning solar projects in the future.
Okay, I'm going to reread the first section then, so we get it right here. Town Controller has requested that 2 new and separate bank escrow accounts be opened at Balton Spa National Bank, one for the purpose of holding decommissioning funds for use on various solar and other projects currently approved and/or existing by the town, and the other to be used as a debt service fund for the accumulation of resources for the payment of principal and interest on long-term debt.
I'll make that.
Okay, thank you, John.
A second.
Thank you, Frank. Any discussion? Hold the board, please, Brenda.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatin.
Yes. Thank you. Next up is a resolution for change orders at the town hall. Whereas the town board was advised that certain additional work was recently discovered that needs to be done to finish and complete the work in town offices, town hall, and the town highway garage, which were not covered by the original contracts. Pursuant to review and recommendations from Jenny Littman, PE of MJ Engineering and Land Surveying Company, town engineering firm, based on the analysis provided, the following change orders should be awarded to the same contractors already on site: Harold R. Kuhn, Inc. and AOW Construction, as they have provided the most competitive, comprehensive proposals in response to bids. As follows: 1, Harold Kuhn, extend and tie in the existing garage fire alarm into the new fire alarm system for a sum of $8,817.51. Harold Kuhn, replace older existing wiring devices, receptacles, and switches with new devices, and to make all devices current and code compliant for a total sum of $6,291. And AOW Construction, removal of the existing podium desk in the town board meeting room and replaced with new millwork radius desk for a total sum of $10,580. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Milton.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Is the nest gonna be larger?
Do you want it larger?
No, I'm asking, I don't know.
No, it's not gonna be any bigger, it's gonna be exactly what we have.
Is there a better layout?
I don't know. The old one's still sitting there, so I didn't know. what
Well,
we're paying.
because we hadn't decided to take it out until we look at
I
it.
didn't know what we're paying $10,000 for.
Well, if you look like the old one, there's one Michael started reading off of this.
Well, no, but it's all, so you're gonna replace it or
Yeah, it's gonna be
repair-
completely replaced.
Or repair it?
Taken out and replaced.
Code now?
The podium doesn't, the podium's not a code problem. The electrical, the outlets and the wiring
Sure.
switches are.
Needs repair.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Can you pull the board, please, Brendan?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes, please.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes,
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Resolution approving the renewal of the contract with MAS LLC.
And what is that?
That's John's contract for next year, for the rest of this year and next year.
All right.
These funds have already been accounted for in next year's budget.
we just got this a little while ago, so
Well, the only difference is the dates. The numbers were the same as the previous contract, just the numbers,
which
just
is
the dates
what?
have changed.
Which is what? 30, was it 30?
The dates are, well, the contract is today, or would be entered into tonight, or today, and then the contract would start on December 9th and expire on December 31st of 2022.
But how much? What's the,
It was,
Right here, totals of consideration.
it was $2,500 a month as under the new
Okay.
approval as a consultant.
Okay, I'm looking at this,
If you look at this, that
the amended, the contract, okay.
Yep.
I'm looking at the resolution, sorry. Okay. Okay, 30,000.
So moved.
Thank you, John.
I'll second.
Thanks, Frank. Any further discussion? Brendan, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes,
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes, thank you. Next up, a motion to accept with regret the resignation of John Bonanno as sole assessor for the town of Milton, effective December 8th.
Mike, that motion.
Thanks, Frank.
Second.
Thank you, Ryan. Any discussion? Brendan, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
yes,
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Next up, a resolution to appoint Laura Minsky as the sole assessor for the town of Milton.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Brendan, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
I'm going to abstain because there were several questions I had that I sent an email out yesterday to this board and I never got answers to them. So I'm going to abstain.
And one of the extension of the vote. Abstain usually means you have a conflict or something. Very well.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes.
Sorry, Tom.
Thank you. Next up, a motion to approve the proposed health insurance for 2022 from Jaeger and Flynn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Ryan. Any discussion? Brendan, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes,
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Thank you. Next up is a motion to approve to buy out 36 hours of vacation time for Rebecca Dreer. Dear Dave, I'm requesting to buy out 36 hours of my vacation time, if possible, in a separate check. If not, that's okay too. Thank you, Rebecca Dreer.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Brenda, poll the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Next up, monthly reports. We have nothing from Animal Control. Building Department.
Dear Supervisors Zlotnick and, I'm sorry. Dear Supervisor Zlotnick and Town Board, during the month of October, the Building Department processed 32 building permits and collected $15,190.05 in building permit fees. We completed 150 construction inspections, 21 fire safety inspections, and responded to 14 code enforcement complaints. A total of 32 permits were closed with 15 certificates of occupancy and 17 certificates of compliance being issued. We collected $250 in zoning fees and $2,250 in planning fees. Please find the appropriate itemized attached report.
Thank you. We didn't get anything from Buildings and Grounds this month. We already have our controller's reports. Highway Department.
Highway Department. The Highway Department has continued the curbside leaf and brush pickup. This will continue until the first snowfall. Our crews will be making rounds, taking approximately 4 days to cover the town. Please place all debris on the shoulder of the road, but out of the way of traffic. The transfer station is now closed on weekends. Hours of operation are Monday through Thursday from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Sand and salt mixture, will be available in 5-gallon buckets only. As we enter into our winter season, we ask all residents to please not park in the roadways and remove all items from the shoulders of the road, including cars, boats, basketball hoops, and anything that will obstruct our crews from plowing the roads. Thank you, the Highway Department.
Town Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Karen. My apologies.
Okay. I'm just short, that's all. Anyway, I continue to work from home answering research requests, and I've had 2 very interesting searches this month. I also continue to document the COVID-19 pandemic. The county dashboard as of last Friday had 880 active cases. As of Monday, there was 924. There's also been a total of 3,322 new cases over just the past month in our county. That's a lot. The town of MIlton cases are now 1,535. As of just checking before I came, it was 1,581, so that's up about 50 cases just in 2 days. And with an increase of 125 cases in a month. In the village of Balton Spa, the total number of cases was 431 as of Friday, and they went up 16 as just in 2 days. And over the past month, it's an extra 39 cases over the past month, just in the village. There are actually now 39 people in the hospital as of Monday, but last Friday there was only 31. So, I mean, it's serious. The 7-day rolling average as of Friday was 6.1% compared to 3.2 a month ago. Just to tell you, just to give you an idea. And there's been 22 deaths in the county just in 1 month. That's a lot. On November 16th, I presented a Zoom presentation sponsored by the Academy of Lifelong Learning through Empire State College. in the Forgotten Crossroads 5-part series entitled Rock City Falls. This is an expanded version of the video that's due to be released in the near future. We're hoping this spring. It was supposed to be out in the fall, but the person putting together our video had a baby, and she's very involved with that right now. The next Historic Structures and Places Committee will meet on Thursday, January 13th, 2022, here at the Community Center, or maybe even Town Hall. We'll contact the people that usually come and let them know that, if it's possible to be in our new abode. Anyone interested in local history is welcome to attend. At our last meeting, we discussed some cemetery issues, and we also talked about some potential preparations in regards to the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution, with hopes to create a celebratory committee sometime after January. The Saratoga County Roundtable is having in-person meetings now, and they're often broadcasted on Facebook Live, and it's an easy way to attend the programs. They are usually well advertised in the newspaper and on the Brookside Facebook page as well. And you can just go to the Brookside website, and there's probably a link there for you. They got a lot of stuff going on, and it's also an easy way to see things. Anyway, in case you missed it 2 weeks ago, I wrote another story for the paper entitled Murder in Rock City Falls. And it was picked up by several other online periodicals. So if you missed it, try Googling it, and it should come up. It's about a 17-year-old girl who kills a would-be suitor. It's quite an interesting story. And what the story doesn't tell you, I mean, only about half of it got in the paper. So anyway, I found out a whole lot more. And I actually found the actual testimony from her 2 trials that she had. Anyway, that was pretty interesting. I enjoyed doing that search. Saratoga County History Center, in partnership with the History Roundtables, published a new book, Saratoga County Stories. It's a great publication, and it has all the stories over the past year and a half that have been published in Saratoga Today and other news people that pick it up. Local First has been Can You Say One Thing? It's been in there as well too. So been planning a second book, and it makes a great holiday gift. And it's $18 at Brookside, and they're open Thursdays through Sundays, 1 to 5, and happy reading. So anyway, respectfully submitted, Karen Stoltz.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Town Clerk.
For the month of October, 9 marriages, 15 certified marriage certificates, 466 certified death certificates, 3 FOIL and search of records requests, 119 dog license, 26 online dog licensing, 84 hunting and fishing license, 4 pavilion rentals, and the town share was $6,633.28.
Thank you. The Justice Report for October, they received 102 charges. They disposed of 83 of them. Fines were $2,129. Surcharges were $1,986. Civil fees were $315 for a total of $4,430. Do we have anything from the Planning and Zoning Board liaison?
Just a quick update. The planning board had 3 projects they were looking at last month. The first one was a public hearing for Nolan Engineering for the dentist office on Geyser Road, which is expanding. The second was a continuation of site plan review and special use permit for Ostros Telecommunications. They also had a presentation by the communications expert that the planning board has hired to look into coverages and things like that. And the last was a special use and site plan application from David Amy at 405 Geyser Road. He does vinyl work on cars. The public comment was cut quite long. I commend the planning board for listening and really giving people a chance to speak. On the zoning side, they had just one public hearing, and that was for the Ingalls variance application for an area variance, and that was for their mail kiosk over in Brookfield on off of Stone Church. So that's what the two.
The planning board also set a public hearing for 240 Greenfield Avenue.
Yeah. Planning board did set up a public hearing for 240 Greenfield. I know we had received some emails about it. I just want to caution everybody that once these projects go to the planning board, the town board cannot have input in it. We can't change their decisions, we can't do anything else. It's really up to the planning board, so. I just want everybody to realize that it has to go through that process.
Thank you, John. At the county, there will be a public hearing on December 15th at 3 o'clock for the proposed amendment and extensions of the facilities at the airport by North American Flight Services. They have applied for new hangar facilities, and there will be a public hearing at the county for that. I will
December 15th?
December 15th at 3 o'clock in the meeting room. They propose to privately fund the project at a cost between $6 and $7 million, and it's for construction of a 22,500 square foot hangar and the rehabilitation of 29,000 square foot hangar and apron.
Do people have to sign up ahead of time then?
I believe you do have to, at the public hearing, yeah, at the meeting you'll have to sign up. There'll be a sign-in sheet at the public meeting. I don't think you have to sign up ahead of time, but there'll be a clipboard, you put your name and your address, and you're allowed to speak. The Open Space and Trails Committee adopted an official bike route map for the county of Saratoga. There were some people that spoke at the last board meeting, and it seems to be a very well-received idea. The maps are available at the county, and there's quite a bit of biking that you can do on a county trail.
Can I ask a quick question, Benny?
Sure.
Is there plans or anything as far as this expansion at the airport?
Online or something?
They don't have any, right now they're just asking for permission to get started on it.
Okay. So there really isn't anything for the residents to look at?
I'd have to check with building. We didn't have anything at the committee meeting, but I mean the committee did. I didn't get it because I'm not on that committee, but the committee has paperwork, so I'm not guessing, you can ask for a copy of the proposed plan. And I would call the clerk to the board, and they should be able to provide that to you.
Did you ask? You're a supervisor.
I did not, but I can. I will ask on
Maybe
Monday.
have it for our December 8th meeting?
Sure, I can do that. I'll ask on Monday.
Because it's probably easier for our residents to look at it at our meeting instead of trying to make a calendar.
Yep, I can do that. And I had one more, but I can't seem to find it. Oh, the public hearing on the county budget will be on November 30th at 4:45 p.m. at the County Board of Supervisors chamber. So if you would like to sit in or comment on the county budget, that's the date and the time. I also have, I'll give it to Brenda to put on the website, the airport capital improvement plan for the next 5 years. It lists the projects, their completion dates, and their costs. So I will give that to Brenda, and she can get that on our website. As soon as the results are tabulated or figured out, I will get them from the village, and I will pass those results on to the residents in those areas. That's all I have. Anyone else?
Just a quick update on Town Hall, they are painting. Everything still seems to be moving along on schedule, so hopefully with what we approved tonight, it will stay right now.
The reason we got started a couple minutes late tonight was because we tried to hook up our new audio-visual system that will be installed at Town Hall when we get out of here, but we were unaware of a couple of technical issues, so it didn't quite work out the way we thought it would. But hopefully we'll have those hammered out for the 8th, and we'll be in a better position. It's actually a pretty nice system, where obviously that's not its permanent location behind you there, but you can see the entire board and the podium. When people are speaking, you can see everybody instead of just my ugly mug for the next month here. And then when it gets moved into Town Hall, it'll be in its right positions and wired up and good to go. Anything else? Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm still, sorry. Public comment, my apologies. Jerry.
Jerry Manning, Zip Wadley, Balton Spot. What's the digging going on out in front of Town Hall?
Out in front of Town Hall, I would assume it probably has something to do with either the electric that we were looking at, as far as we had some leakage, rain leakage into the court where the conduit came in to.
No, this is on the Brown Street
It
side.
started on the other side.
Well, if it was on the other side, they were probably looking to locate the sewer.
And now
There
we're
was
on
some
the
little
town
It's on the
small
Brown Street
discussion.
side.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they started over by Cumberland Farms. They were there this morning, and now they're on.
Sewer. That's, I'm gonna guess a sewer issue, right?
Yes, I would assume so, yes.
Without a permit, why are we doing, how are we doing it?
Mr. Begodi.
Well, they can dig without a permit. We haven't done any work.
No, we need a street opening from that. I don't think so. You gotta read your own law. You can't undertake any work without a permit. Right.
We aren't digging in the street.
You can't. You have a street opening permit for sewer. Okay, it's called an access permit. Jim will probably explain it to you. Okay? Jesus. The frustration is the obfuscation from this board and the difficulty with disseminating the truth with a simple construction project. I believe if you check the regulations, you can't begin any work on the sewer, and digging is work. Last time I tried it, it seemed like work. So you can't begin any work on the sewer without a permit. So my question is, who applied for the sewer permit? Who actually applied for it? Who's doing the paperwork for the sewer permit?
MJ.
MJ. Then would it be possible to get that application to the clerk so that she can fulfill our FOIL request? Since as of today, there was nothing. So it'd be nice if MJ wasn't holding that so close to the vest, since they are required to turn over any work for the town under FOIL. That's the law. So I see tonight that you're taking action on a couple of things. The water, for instance, Mrs. Morosi, I applaud her for working on that and getting it done. But you're taking action on it. But I don't think that she's been asking for that for 5 years. I don't think she's been asking for that for 10 years. So I was wondering, why would you take action on the water and not take action on the sewer? but you were under obligation of statute to take action on. It's very confusing. I'm kind of thinking that you don't take action on it because we're representing the issue and you may have an issue with us. And I don't know if that's necessarily the board's position to discriminate against the presenter of the issue. So it would be pretty interesting to understand why. I also noticed tonight that you were doing budget transfers according to the law. Why? What's the point? Who cares? Why would you abide by the law? So I would like an answer to the question of why you're taking action on a water issue that I think it's been maybe a year, but my brother and I have been presenting this sewer problem for probably 10 years, close to it, and nothing has been done. So is it a personal issue? Because that's what it sure feels like. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sure.
Mr. Bogosian.
It's always so much fun being here, and to the young folks over here, it's not always this much fun. Sorry to bore you, and you'll be out of here in 5 minutes or less. Yeah, I have to echo what my brother's saying. I'm starting to feel it's a discriminatory action on the behalf of the board to respond regarding the water issue that there's no law governing the water situation, but there is a law governing the sewer situation called Transportation Corporation's Law. You gave an update regarding the water, but no update regarding the sewer. You have an ongoing rate proceeding, no update regarding that. And the FOIL that we put forth, I hopefully I'll have some response now. It's troubling that MJ's filing this, and I don't know if you remember previous presentations, but you're engaging MJ for $3,500 to talk to Heritage when one of MJ's principals, Brian Osterhout, is now a principal at Heritage Springs Sewer Works. And this is a cozy situation you got going on here. I just don't get it. You went through the mind-numbing budget transfers because it was required by law to do that. And I respect you for doing things according to the law. But you flagrantly violate the law as it pertains to Transportation Corporation's law. And I'm sorry if it's bothering, we got to pick stuff up, we can't wait to get out of here. But it is absolutely disgusting that decades we've been here. We provided facts. We provided affidavits from accountants. You've swept this under the rug in total ignorance of the law. And I know your attorney knows the law. And if you have any questions about it, you can ask them about it. My shaking my head, Barb, wasn't about your position on the vote. My shaking my head is I'm a taxpayer sitting in this audience. And if I had a couple extra dollars, I'd buy you all Robert's rules, but why don't you see your attorney about it? That's why he counseled you. You can't abstain unless you're having a conflict of interest. You can be absent, you can vote yes, you can vote no, but we look horrible as a town. Absolutely horrible. You sit there, you don't respond. You have an obligation under the law, Transportation Corporation law, to set rates, to make sure that they're fair, reasonable, and adequate. And you haven't done your job. And you sit there and don't even respond. Thank you.
Mrs. Judah.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to make sure, because it was a little difficult to hear what Councilman Polish was saying in regards to the public hearing on the airport facility. I believe and hoping what I heard is that Supervisor Zlotnick, you will get a copy of any publicly available material regarding what's being discussed at that public hearing and put it on the website so the residents can have easy access to that. Is that what I heard?
Yes, I'll pick that up on Monday. I'll ask for it on Monday and have it sent over.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, public comment, apologies, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Poll the board, please, Brenda.
Councilman Blaisdell. Councilwoman Hurd.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisors elect.
Yes, thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and may your God bless you.